He was arrested for walking home with an umbrella. But what followed shocked an entire city. Family, before we dive into this heartbreaking story, I need you to stop what you're doing right now and hit that subscribe button. Stories like these, the untold struggles, the silenced voices, they matter. They deserve to be heard. If you stand for justice, if you believe in truth, then join us by subscribing. Because what you're about to hear will stay with you forever. The rain drummed hard that Thursday night. Street lamps cast streaks of silver across puddles as Darius trudged down Maplewood Avenue, his boots splashing through shallow water. He worked long shifts at the distribution warehouse, and tonight, like so many others, he was just heading home. His jacket clung to him, damp, but he carried something to shield himself, a folded black umbrella, still dripping from earlier showers. It was an ordinary object, nothing remarkable. But in Brookdale, ordinary wasn't always seen the same way. Darius lived at the very end of the block, where his younger sister Maya was probably waiting. She was the bright spark in his otherwise heavy world, and he promised himself, no matter how hard work got, no matter how cold life felt, he'd be there for her. But tonight, someone else was watching. Behind a curtain across the street, Harold, a self-proclaimed neighborhood protector, picked up his phone. His voice was hushed but urgent. Yes, police. There's a suspicious man walking down Maplewood. Black male. Tall. Hood up. He's holding something in his hand. Looks like a weapon. Weapon? No proof. No warning. Just fear dressed as vigilance. And with that, the wheels began turning on something that would change Darius's life forever. The peace of the block shattered with the howl of sirens. Red and blue lights flashed, splintering across wet driveways as two patrol cars screeched to a halt. Officer Blake and Officer Simmons stepped out, rainwater bouncing off their boots. Their eyes locked onto Darius immediately. Suspect identified, Blake muttered, hand hovering near his holster. Darius stopped mid-step, bewildered. He raised his free hand, umbrella dangling in the other. Evening, officers. Something wrong. His tone was calm, respectful, exhausted but steady. Blake ignored the greeting. His gaze drilled into the black object in Darius's hand. What's that? Darius blinked. This? An umbrella. Just an umbrella. Heading home, that's all. But Blake wasn't looking at an umbrella. He was looking at a man who, to him, fit a script already written. Simmons's voice was sharp. We got a call. Said you might be armed. Armed. Darius's jaw clenched. He set the umbrella gently on the wet pavement, then raised both hands. There. Look. Nothing dangerous. Nothing illegal. The rain fell heavier, as if punctuating the moment. Neighbors peeked from porches. Phones began recording, and the story that Harold had started was no longer just his. Blake's voice cut the air like a blade. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Darius's eyes widened. Wait, what? Arrested? For what? For resisting investigation, Blake snapped. But I haven't resisted anything. I answered your questions. Turn around. Now. The folded umbrella lay in the puddle, forgotten. But its shadow stretched long, a symbol of how suspicion could turn the ordinary into threat. The neighbors murmured. Some gasped. The cameras zoomed in, and then the door at the end of the block opened. Maya, Darius's younger sister, rushed out, her phone already raised, recording everything. Her voice rang across the wet street. Why are you arresting him? That's my brother. He didn't do anything. Blake moved fast, grabbing Darius's arm, twisting it behind him. Darius winced but didn't fight back. Officer, please, I didn't do anything. That's my sister. She's recording. But Blake's grip only tightened. Maya's voice cracked as she shouted. Stop. You're hurting him. He didn't do anything wrong. Simmons turned, barking. Ma'am, step back. Now. Neighbors edged closer, cameras flashing. Someone whispered, this is wrong. Another murmured, that's just an umbrella, man. But Blake didn't hear. Or maybe he didn't care. And then, as Darius was shoved toward the patrol car, his eyes locked on Maya's. For the first time that night, fear showed. But beneath it was something else, resolve. He whispered, just loud enough for her phone to catch it. Don't stop recording. The cold steel of the holding cell wrapped around Darius's night. The fluorescent lights buzzed above as Blake filled out paperwork, muttering, resisting investigation, suspicious activity. Simmons leaned on the desk. Guy was shady. Who walks around at night with something black in their hand? He knew what he was doing, but the words rang hollow even to him. Because outside, Brookdale was buzzing. The video was already online. Maya had posted it with the caption, "My brother was arrested for walking home with an umbrella. This is what we live with." And in just hours, the video began spreading. Shares, comments, outrage. But inside the cell, Darius had no idea. He sat quietly, replaying the moment over and over. No warning, no proof, just suspicion, just a black man with an umbrella. By morning, the station phones were ringing nonstop. Journalists called. Civil rights groups called. Even city officials wanted answers. Blake scowled. People always overreact. Viral videos mean nothing. But Simmons wasn't so sure. "Sir, they're saying we violated his rights. They're saying it was racial profiling. It's trending." Meanwhile, Maya stood outside the station with a growing crowd. Signs read, "Umbrellas aren't crimes and justice for Darius." The chant rose. "Let him go. Let him go." Darius, hearing the noise from his cell, closed his eyes. He didn't ask for this. He didn't want to be a headline. But maybe, just maybe, his struggle could mean something larger. Family. You see how fast truth spreads when the cameras are rolling? You see how injustice comes to light when we refuse to stay silent? If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, because these are the stories that expose the cracks in the system. Subscribe now, so you never miss the truth. By day 3, the story had exploded. News anchors replayed Maya's shaky footage. Commentators debated. Some defended the officers. They had to act cautiously. But many more demanded accountability. Maya, though exhausted, kept fighting. She gave interviews, spoke to reporters, and reminded everyone. "My brother didn't break the law. He didn't resist. He was just walking home with an umbrella." And slowly, the narrative shifted. This wasn't just about Darius. It was about every innocent man and woman who had ever been judged first, questioned later. On the 4th night, Darius was finally released on bail. The crowd outside erupted in cheers. Maya ran into his arms, tears streaming. But as they walked home together, something chilling happened. A car crept slowly past their house. Its headlights dim, its windows tinted. Darius froze, instincts prickling. He knew the feeling of being watched. Maya whispered, "Darius, that's the same car that's been circling since yesterday." And then, the window slid down. A shadowed figure leaned out and whispered just one word. "Careful." The car rolled away into the dark. Darius and Maya exchanged a look. Fear, confusion, and realization. This wasn't over. Family, what do you think happens next? Do you think Darius and Maya are safe? Or is this just the beginning of something deeper, darker, and more dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the uniting Untold struggles, because part 2 will reveal everything. And trust me, you don't want to miss it.